Welcome to the Football Guys Dynasty Show, and this is our trade episode. It's me, Jagger, and then with me, as always, is our Dynasty Captain, Jeff Bell. And guys, like we've said on the last episode, it's week one, um, and it's Dynasty, so that means that we can even trade even more because we have real value and players have moved up and down. We're going to start by a crowd favorite. By crowd, I mean me. It's Brian Thomas Jr. Slappy Herman, love the name. Um, he traded Brian Thomas Jr. and a 26th first for Saquon Barkley. He said awful orphan, almost guaranteed the 101, and has May, Penix, and Rattler. Jeff, I'm going to open this one. If you are an awful orphan who's guaranteed the 101, why are you buying an elite running back who's on a second contract?
I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. I hope that at Sloppy Herman is getting the Brian Thomas Jr. and the 26 first side, because capitalizing on Saquon Barkley in this moment in time, the way that we saw him perform week one. I mean, yeah, if I can get a future first that is going to be very high, I think, and a player like Brian Thomas Jr. that's flashed that ability. I mean, that's the type of deal that I want to do to move off of Saquon Barkley. But I mean, like saying that you've got Drake May, Michael Penix, and Spencer Rattler, it's like you might have like 1.5 quarterbacks there, maybe. Like that's not anything that I'm not like punting a 101 because I don't think I need a quarterback because I have Spencer Rattler.
Yeah. And I don't think he's trading like that's a 26 first. I think that 25 first he's keeping. So like my point is like I don't know what your receivers are, man, but like you want Brian Thomas Jr. I think that there's a huge chance that he could be a top 24 wide receiver and and someone that you're just going to want on a rebuilding roster. You want to build from those wide receivers. And like you don't know how quick you could flip this team to be trading your 26 first as well. Like, let's put it this way, your first is going to have value in 26. Even with Saquon Barkley's big year, he might not have that value in 2026. Like we're talking about like a Christian McCaffrey right now and what his values is as like a an RB1 in redraft even. And like his dynasty value's only been held up by that yearly value. So like that's just not the move. And let's put it this way, in another episode, like our next episode tomorrow, we're going to talk about Kirk Cousins. I think there's a chance that Penix plays this year. I'm not saying to put your chips in because you have May and Penix. I'm saying that your QB situation might be okay for next season. And the 101, to put it this way for scouting, I think Quinn Ewers might be pretty good, and I think you might be able to get a pretty good wide receiver there. So just like chill out and don't buy running backs when just don't do that. Sorry, guy. Don't mean to spoil it. Next,
Maybe that's why we're not getting trades, Jag, because we need to be a little bit nicer to the people that are sending us trades. But
I'm nice. I just told him I'm sorry. I just told him not to do it. He's gonna thank me in a year when he has a much better roster and he's not like, well, I got Saquon and now he's a new Austin Eckler. Like I'm just trying to help him. Like, yeah. I'm not roasting you, guy. I'm your guide. I'm just like I'm like a like our boss Joe says that we need to be your Yoda. Like Yoda's like kind. I'm more of like a Philly boxing coach. Like I, you
I don't think Yoda's very kind, to be honest with you. But
Oh, he's just passive aggressive. I'm just
yeah,
aggressive aggressive.
I get it.
Before we go any further, make sure to like and subscribe. And like I said, guys, we're doing this trade show every week throughout the season, so keep sending us those trades. If you are on the go and you don't want to listen to YouTube and have your phone open because you don't pay for premium, we are on Spotify and we are on Apple, and you can send us trades with reviews on there as well. I do go and look at those. And then we write articles every week. I'll give you the heck of chonker every week where I break down every matchup for you. Jeff has a roundup every week and just random articles because he stays busy. And then we have our league dominator that'll help you during redraft and during dynasty. And a lot of these stats that we're pulling off, like these snap shares, that's all over on Football Guys as well. So make sure to go over there /plans. And we have a lot of cool stuff for you, like our GOAT tier, where you could ask us questions directly at some point. Yes, Joe's getting every penny out of us. All right, on our next one, we got a Justin Jefferson trade. And we actually got a couple Justin. No, we only got the one. That's Jamar Chase. We have multiple of. Ryan Lynn 9732. Justin Jefferson and Justin Jefferson, Cole Kmet, and mid-second for Garrett Wilson, Sam Laporta, and Calvin Ridley. Where are you at with that, Jeff?
I mean, at first blush, if I can turn Justin Jefferson into Garrett Wilson and Sam Laporta, I like that quite a bit to kind of split and still have two elite assets that make my roster stronger. But then Aaron Rodgers is looking like a 40-year-old, and we don't know what the answer is at Jets quarterback after that. So that makes me a little bit nervous. But if we're talking about uncertain quarterback situations, that defines Justin Jefferson right now. So kind of a little bit of a push there. I think that's the biggest thing is we've seen Jefferson threaten to break NFL records, and we've seen Garrett Wilson just be a lot of unrealized potential realized things, but at the same time I think we are going to get this elite season from Garrett Wilson this year that will close that gap, and that gap at that point is going to be a lot smaller than Sam Laporta.
Yeah. Getting Sam Laporta just puts us over the top. Calvin Ridley is just like contender gravy. Like you might want to just try to flip Ridley again if you want. But like we've been low on Cole Kmet all season just because I didn't have room on the show sheet. He's a clear loser right now, guys. Gerald Everett outsnapped him. And I will say the Bears were so bad, and that's not saying Caleb was bad. Almost every rookie since the beginning of time has had a terrible debut. I think that I definitely think that Clement is probably the odd man out of this offense going forward. So Sam Waldron just likes Everett at this point. Um, so good job, man. Good job. If you can, this is how you trade Justin Jefferson. You're tearing down like a smidge. Like you're not moving all the way off. And like, let's put it this way. I would have accepted Garrett Wilson a second and Calvin Ridley. That's how uneven Sam Laporta is for this. I don't. Good job. Like we said, guys, we like you. Send us the juicy ones too. Like this was controversial. Like you could flex here. This is a safe space, but like make my job interesting with love is all I gotta say. And I will say we've got a little bit. I've got a couple more interesting ones. And here's the one we have too is Jamar Chase. We have three for Jamar Chase. Corey Mustang. He traded Jaylen Waddle and DK Metcalf for Jamar Chase. I somehow hate both sides of this, and I don't know why.
I mean, I'd take the Chase side here.
No.
I think that I know we're in a moment right now, maybe a sell moment on Jamar Chase. I mean, the buy moment on Jamar Chase. I mean, I think that Waddle's fine, but I think that you kind of see him be more of a low end wide receiver 2 type of a player. And DK Metcalf is a player that I thought he was primed for a takeoff this year. Week 1 didn't do a whole lot. I just think that when you are kind of looking at building out a roster, you're looking at queuing high end assets. Jamar Chase is a high end asset that I think that this is a relatively small price to pay for it.
Yeah, and I definitely think that Chase is going to bounce back. I'm in pretty hateful towards basically the state of Ohio. If you think about their sports teams, the last 48 hours, but like the Bengals, I don't like their play calling, but their talent on that side of the ball is just so great that they're going to produce even despite that. For me, it's just I know what you're saying about Waddle. He's a good wide receiver 2. He's an even better wide receiver 3. DK Metcalf, I had better hopes for. So it's just like I'm not going to split up Jamar Chase for that. But giving up those two pieces for Jamar Chase doesn't seem like the right move either. I'd rather give up one and then like a pick or another position. I don't know what your receivers are. That's why I say like I just don't like either side of that trade. I just wouldn't have approached it like to do that to get Chase, but also don't know the rest of your roster. If you have like Justin Jefferson and someone else like Mike Evans, and like sure, go get Jamar Chase, and you have some of those points consolidated at that point. Next we have Chase Beal Sharp 383. Jamar Chase for Amon-Ra St. Brown straight across. This is like a rankings question, and I only put it in here because I wanted to ask you why. Like, why would you want to do this trade? They both kind of had disappointing grades. Is someone a Detroit fan? and someone a Bengals fan, then like, yeah, I get it. You just want to get a guy you could root for. Are you trying to get a stack and getting some plus CV even in Dynasty? That's the only reason why. Jeff, can you put your perspective on like why you would make a trade like this? I guess this is trade strategy and not so much like either.
I mean, I think it's when you're looking at this as getting the Jamar Chase side, which is the side that I would prefer to be on, you're looking at a player that has consistently held dynasty value higher than Amon-Ra St. Brown over the last however many years, and you're essentially capitalizing on, hey, this Jamar Chase owner might be a little bit nervous about this one moment in time. Well, this is an opportunity for me to tier up without giving anything else, and so here's my Amon-Ra St. Brown. You can breathe a little bit easier. I believe in the talent of Chase and that he has a much higher ceiling than Amon-Ra St. Brown, and so that's why I'm going to do this trade.
Yeah, yeah. I know there's a big, and I love Amon-Ra St. Brown. And a lot of people think he's like should be like the wide receiver one. It's hard for me to get there, guys. I think he's an elite player, but like what makes these other guys next level is just athleticism that Amon-Ra St. Brown just doesn't have. And I know that's like nuts to say. Like Cooper Kupp had a triple crown, but that like Amon-Ra St. Brown needs that level of volume to kind of get there, whereas Jamar Chase needs like 3 plays. So, because I too would prefer the chase side. The next is a burner's burner. So I wonder if this is a burner account for you. Like if this is your burner's burner, what are you doing on this account? Like what kind of shady stuff are you doing on this particular account that you can't do on your regular burner? Let me know in the comments there. This one is actually fun. Jayen Daniels, T. Higgins, Roman Wilson for Jamar Chase. What side of this trade are you on?
If I have two high end quarterbacks already, then I'm on the Chase side. If I don't, then that makes it a little bit more interesting. I mean, the athleticism certainly translated yesterday for Jayen Daniels, but at the
Oh,
same time, like
that was a good
I kind
matchup.
of it was a great matchup for
Mhm.
Jayen Daniels going up against the Buccaneers. And I mean, I kind of looked at the package and look what he did in college and said, why is this that much different than Justin Fields? And it was like the league's ready to throw Justin Fields out already. And Justin Fields pretty much the same age as Jayen Daniels. So I thought it was, I never really understood. Like I understand the interest, the infatuation with Jayen Daniels and the upside, the ceiling. I believe me, I get all that. At the same time, it's feeling like we're starting to see these guys fail and be like short term assets relative to a longer term play where I don't have any concerns long term about Jamar Chase continuing to be an elite fantasy receiver for the next better part of the next decade.
Yeah. And my thing isn't even Jaden Daniels. I watched a lot of that game as much as I could on there. I I feel like he has a hose. Like I thought I saw a lot more zip than I did, particularly over the middle of the field, than I did on his college tape. I really like that. It's Cliff Kingsbury, man. Like it's like that route chart is terrible. Terry McLaurin still isn't earning targets. I think what did they do? They got a new quarterback, and they just put a Cliff Kingsbury skin on the same kind of doo doo on there. Like it was a lot of design, little ticky tack touches, and then a couple of deep shots. Nothing like the couple of passes I saw in the middle of the field where I literally just happened to look at the TV at the right time type thing. It's Cliff Kingsbury's the same coach that I've watched for years. I don't know why people keep paying him. He's I think he's the biggest sham offensive coordinator out there right now. I didn't mean to go that intense about it, but it looked really bad. Like a lot of those charts out there. So sorry guys. With that being said, um, if you need a quarterback, I would do this. T. Higgins is a person. It's really frustrating owning him. I know we had a huge debate in the football guys chat. Is like T. Higgins is just so frustrating to own. If you have good wide receivers, fine. But to be honest, if you're trying to get a wide swap a wide receiver one for like a tear down wide receiver two, I just think that you swapped one problem for a different problem. Because in Dynasty, not having a stud wide receiver is as big as a problem as not having a stud quarterback at Superflex. I don't know if you agree with that, Jeff.
I agree. I mean, you're trying to get across the board. I want 5 or 6 elite assets, and whatever direction I have to go, that's you have to go that way.
Yeah. And then Roman Wilson, I almost didn't include him in this trade package, but I just think that he's a dynasty blinder for me. On the places I have him on my taxi squad, and I'm not going to think about it until it's time to think about it, because I think that the Steelers might be the same team that they were last year with a quarterback who can run, and that's coming for someone who's the same like Fields guy. Because again, you're looking at Justin Fields like passing chart. A lot of stuff close to the line of scrimmage with the occasional deep shot, and it's another Steelers game where they won by defense. And I don't did they have an offensive touchdown? I don't think they did. Did
No,
they?
no,
Yeah,
they multiple field goals, no
yeah,
touchdowns.
yeah. Chris Boswell was like a fantasy star this week because of that.
Yeah,
Um, well, that was enough on the Jamar Chase day of trades on there. Basically, guys, go out and get him. The getting's good apparently. He could be can be had, which is good to know. Last trade, not as fun. It's a Tua Tagovailoa trade from Richard Neal 726. Tua Tagovailoa, Dontavian Wicks, Audric Estime for Kyle Williams, Tank Dell in the mid first. You got a lot for Tua, man. Um,
yeah.
you got a lot. You got a lot for Tua. If Tua is your QB3, you did it, buddy. You did it. Congrats. Because you could probably get another quarterback with that mid first. The way this draft is settling out, Dontavian Wicks, Dunzo. It's over. Until Romeo Dubs or Christian Watson goes down, it's over. He's a handcuff, guys. It was fun. I told you to buy him because he was cheap. He was a third rounder. He's still worth a third rounder. Let's put it that way. He's still probably worth a third rounder. Um, Audric Estime, I don't even know if he's real. So that's nothing. So you essentially traded Tua for 3 real assets. I was too low on Kyron Williams. I apologize for that. He's an RB1. Tank Dell, he's a wide receiver one with more of that 49ers kind of fluky upside, or at least I think he's a top 16 wide receiver. Hope you got him while the getting's good. And then a mid first on top of that. Uh, it's easily the non-quarterback side, right, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think that I would. This is the package where, yeah, I mean, Tua Tagovailoa, as like you're kind of buying the youth and you're kind of buying the attachment to that high end offense, but he led the league in passing yards last year, and he was still like quarterback 16 or so. It's just he didn't add anything on the ground at all, and I know he apparently slimmed down to try to be able to do that, and I had a little prop that he was able to hit because he did run for more than I think maybe like 8 yards. So that was fun. But other than that, I just don't know where you're getting out of fantasy. And so you're exactly right on Kyron Williams being running back one. And Sean McVay did say that maybe the usage got a little bit out of hand for Kyron Williams versus what he wants to do. But I mean, that ceiling is certainly still there. And Tank Dell, you're going to have much, much better days. You're going to have days with this. We saw Stephon Diggs get the 2 touchdowns. We saw Nico Collins win downfield consistently in top 100 yards. Tank Dell kind of a little bit of a back seat, but still was right there in terms of snaps, in terms of targets with the other two. It's just you're going to have some boom bust weeks when you've got 3 great wide receivers like this.
Yeah, and I think like Tank Dell still had like I think almost 8 targets. I don't have that one pulled up.
He had 7 targets, I think 3 catches for 40 yards was I think
Yeah,
where he
so
had.
like the targets are still there, guys, and Stephon Diggs is clearly an underneath guy. He's going to be eating on a lot of rub routes. This reminds me a lot of Wes Welker, when he was with the Broncos, still at the Patriots, but at the Broncos, how they used Wes Welker a lot, where you had Eric Decker and Demarius Thomas making the big plays. Then in the red zone, it was like Julius Thomas fade or something, and then like a Wes Welker rub route. Like that's like I genuinely think Stephon Diggs might be 12 touchdowns this season, from the way that they use that offense. So congrats guys. If you bought Tank Dell, I know I did, and I feel great. The points didn't happen this season, but the usage is there. Well, guys, that's another trade episode. As always, we'll make these a little longer and a little spicy if you give us a spicy trades. It doesn't have to be just your trades. If one of your league mates puts something interesting down, let us know, and we're happy to break these down. If you ever need advice, we're here for you. I do answer a lot of these trades in the comments as well. If they don't make the show, I'll make sure to go back there and do more today. And as I said earlier, we do have an audio side, and always go to our website where we have rankings, the stuff like targets, snaps, all that. We have those tools there for you as well as our league dominator. I'm Jagger. That's Jeff, and we'll see you guys next time.